we've had other graffiti shows before and all that stuff, and we want to, it's time to have a show that, you know, everybody can kind of look, you know, come down and look at. We're going to have a lot of magazines, we're going to have a lot of television and all that stuff, but instead of them coming down and seeing a balanced story of what graffiti is, you know, the homeowner associations, all that kind of stuff, the police and all that, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about what's legal, illegal. We're going to talk about the imagery of something that we all believe.
Well, Radiotron actually was the radio club. It was a club where Ice-T used to rap, and it was started by these two white guys, and it happens just through fate that the owner of the property gave me the keys to that building, because I was looking for a space where I can start a center for young people in the neighborhood. And it just was a coincidence. I guess it was just, like I mentioned, it was just fate that this happened to be the radio club. So I came down to see what was going on, and I saw a lot of kids breakdancing. I saw it was a positive thing, you know, and I told them, hey, you guys could have, you know, your club. I just want to start a youth center. Once people started putting down, you know, the graffiti as vandalism and breakdancing as, you know, illegitimate form of art, dance and expression. And, you know, some of the sponsors started to, you know, pull away from using hip-hop at that time. And also the Surgeon General came out with this report that breakdancing could be hazardous to your health. Then they outlawed breakdancing in the streets. The city council passed an ordinance restricting teenage clubs. And then they closed the Radiotron because of development, because of greed, you know, for money. And that led young people back to the streets, which then they turned back to gangs, and crack was in, gang banging, and you saw a dramatic shift from breakdancing and hip hop, which provided a very good positive alternative. I consider breakdancing to be a beautiful art form. It's very exciting to look at. I consider graffiti to be the purest form of art and expression. It's something that comes from the people. It comes from the people themselves, the oppressed people. It's a beautiful form of art, you know, that is true. And the same thing with rapping. You know, rapping is an expression of someone's inner self. It's like poetry. Now today, 10 years later, you know, we have a lot of young people that were involved in Radiotron who are now doing the same thing that I was trying to do back then, and that's helping young people in the community. A lot of them are having their own gallery shows. Some of them are, you know, recording artists. And that's the positive side. You know, for a person like myself who was a youth advocate, and a person that believes in the young people in our future, believe that the young people, you know, they create the most exciting and beautiful forms of art, you know, that we have. It's always fresh and exciting and vibrant.
I never thought that I would get paid, because when I started doing graphics, I felt like I fell in love with it, with the spray can or something, you know. I just dug the way it looked on the wall. I remember doing my first piece in back of my house, you know. Just the first day that I was introduced to it, as a matter of fact, the person that introduced me to it, he had been doing graph since like probably like 79, you know. And I remember from when he did my name, I copied it like so many times in school. And in the afternoon, I went home and I still copied it again. And I picked up some cans that were inside the house, and I went back out the house, and I did my first piece, and it's a trip, you know, like the sensation that came over me at that point in time was, wow, you know, like one of those you have no words to actually explain, you know, or to actually take you there. It's a trip. I just want to continue doing what I'm doing, just, you know, and evolving with it, and, you know, just experiencing new experiences with this. It's brought me this far, you know. It's brought me this far, so it's a trip. Man, it was because of the Radiotron that we ended up here, you know. Like, right. It was there where the first meetings of writers from all around the city got to, you know, started getting together and hooking up, you know, and part of the evolution, you know, the whole evolution state of graph. I mean, that was, the Radiotron itself was probably, I would say, the womb of all this, you know?
Mm-hmm. Basically, the way I got into it was a little different. I was in high school, and I was just drawing waves and writing surf and drawing pictures of waves all over books and my desk and stuff like that. And they had some guy from New York that sat next to me, and he said, "What do you write?" And I said, "All kinds of things." And he was like, "What do you write?" I said, "All kinds of things." I didn't know what he's talking about. He goes, "Oh," so he looked, and I had this thing, and it said surf, and he goes, "You write surf?" And I was like, "Okay." And then he told me about tag names and tagging. So then that day I was like, that's kind of cool. I already write it everywhere, so I started like getting up with it. And that's how I started doing it, you know. I was doing it not even knowing what I was really doing. I started going to places like the Radiotron and stuff like that. And that's when I was really hip to the whole hip-hop culture. You know, I think if someone's truly interested in hip-hop, you know, there's a lot of books out there, and you should just basically do the research before you make any judgment. Definitely before you try to step into it, you know. I just think that hip-hop is definitely a subculture, not a trend or a fad.
Well, actually, the Radiotron was like a real good influence, like for me, you know. Actually, it kept me away from like a lot of things, because back then I was already, you know, like, you know, just hitting up blocks and everything. But when I started going to the Radiotron and just like, you know, just like looking at other different type of things, you know, like there was people rapping on the mic, you know, freestyle, and then there was like different type of dancers. Yeah, Jazzy D.
Tony what? From the...
Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Tony Gonzalez from KD, huh?
KD White, back in the days, eh? The first crank piece actually was like the biggest piece, the first biggest piece at the Radiotron, in the back of the radio, on the side of the Radiotron, eh? There was like about 3 of us, eh? Doing that piece, eh? On ladders and everything, but we finished it, eh? We started it and we finished it, eh? That was the biggest piece, eh? That was like, it was back in the day. I don't even know. I guess I had the most cans, or I don't know. It just happened that way. Yeah, Gio kicked me down with all the cans pretty much, eh? Those are my dogs right there.
And misled, things put in their head, not knowing themselves, following others instead. They stick styles and shed, the lyrics sound red, dead. Some things are simply better left unsaid. Spread the word, it's time to clean up the slurs. The styles are like logos on MTV blurred. The cool will freeze these MCs, clogging the arteries like fries at Mickey D's. A change of degrees, make your square mind a rumbus. You accidentally found your rhyme styles like Columbus. Fumble this mic and there'll be no recoveries. You better cover up like alien discoveries. They come dull when it's time to shine. They sit back and recline when they should redesign. I heard their demo tapes using the same old lines, so I press rewind, play and record at the same time. I'm coming direct and subliminal at the same time. I'm coming from the mind and the brain and the heart at the same time. Never using the same lines. I'll be the one that's coming more refined. I intertwine I twine like the. Anyway, shit. Check that out. Am I allowed to cuss on this? I'm not.
As far as what we're doing in graph, we need to get up more. The old schoolers, the new schoolers, everybody in between, we need to start bombing again. But just doing whatever, just doing it and making sure it gets out there, man, because what they trying to do to this whole culture thing that we into right now, it's like we the last ones. Because what the kids are learning now about this, they're learning all the wrong aspects of this. And that has to cease. I mean, it's okay to bomb and cool when you have spots, but, you know, basically it's about the art. It's more than just, you know, just writing your name everywhere. That's why I never, you know, really get into just writing my name. I get into doing some of everything. I got to do pieces, man. I got to do it all, man. Yeah, tags here and there.
Do I, you know, see it as a culture and stuff like that? I do, because I think it has all the elements of a culture, you know. Music, of course, dance, art, and even language, you know. So, I mean, I do definitely consider it to be, I definitely consider it to be a culture, and I think that it needs to be recognized as a culture, because it's not, it's just, it's recognized through the media as a bunch of kids that, you know, run away, yeah, you know what I mean, that it's something that's passing, too, when it's definitely has a presence and an existence, and I think it's up to us as the community in hip-hop to determine whether or not it will continue. As far as, you know, women's involvement in the industry, I think that there's definitely a female presence. There are a lot of females that work in the industry. A lot more. I think more so. I think on a lower level, more so than a higher level. I'd like to see more women taking control of their careers. I'd like to see more women putting their record out independently. I'd like to see more women producing. I like to see more women writing their own material. I like to see more women writing material for other people, producing other people.
DJ Kilu. Kilu is my real name. It means one who is rich in the wisdom of his ancestry. DJ Kilu. I got started doing what? DJing? Yeah. I don't remember, like, when I was a kid, I used to play records and put the speaker in the window of my back porch whenever somebody was outside, just to see their reactions on the little 545s that I had, Pointer Sisters and some other stuff I got from Pops, whatever. Not like he's a Pointer Sisters fan or nothing, but you know what I'm saying, like, I just got scraps, but I was playing them shits, whatever. Let me see, I got introduced to hip-hop at an early age. I guess like I was in 6th grade, and my uncle was breakdancing with the Shake City Rockers, and my parents trusted me with him, so he used to take me to spots like the radio before it became Radiotron, and I used to see Cold Crush when they came in town, Islam, Evil E, Him G was DJing, also Shake City Rockers MCs, Lenny Lim, DJ Chevy Shanks, Suave Smooth, shit like that. DST used to be rocking. So anyway, I was influenced by that. Ice-T used to be there. Breakers, breaking. It was all b-boy shit, right? So I used to come back and tell the stories to my clique at junior high who couldn't go out that late or whatever. Used to be over at like 5 in the morning, whatever. So I was attached to the DJing aspect of the whole shit. I could break a little bit, but you know what I'm saying? I didn't really get down hella physical, so I started even before that though, I used to listen to like Uncle Jam's Army on the radio and pick up shit. Nobody ever taught me how to mix. I just like had a fucked up ass Sears turntable. I used to cut with the knob and shit. Like used to pick up all the records I heard on Uncle Jam's that, you know what I'm saying, except for the whatever. I got all that shit, whatever. So I got these beakers, man, you know? These beakers, it's like, because chemists is basically messing around with different formulas of different kinds of music and sounds and putting them together like a chemist puts together crack, or only it's not dangerous to people's minds, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just trying to create this utopian society of like hip-hop where all musical genres can come together and live as one, you know what I'm saying? You know?
So what's up, Kim? Let's get up on the wheels, man.
All right, man. Let's see. Okay. So it's like that.
So, speaking on graph, I'm Dimmer One. Basically what this generation is lacking is respect. If we can get respect, everything is already out there and it can be brought into manifestation because it's our time. We gotta take our time and use it right before it passes on. But we can't do this if we got young people going over people's pieces that took time into it. It was a time where we had respect for people, and once we regain that respect for each other's art, no matter if he's from the east side, west side, north side, south side, just respect that this is a fellow artist, and I got love for the art, the writer, just respect. I'm gonna leave it out on that note.
When I first started doing graffiti was back before the hip-hop subculture actually formed in LA in '82. I was doing a little bit of Picasso writing over on the east side of LA. When I first moved there, I saw a lot of Chicano gang writing, very beautiful scripts written on the walls, and I was really intrigued by it. And as I enrolled in public school and started going on from grade to grade, I started finding out more about it and what it meant, and all the writing on the walls. And so I started becoming involved that way, doing little Picasso writing on my peachy folders or just around my alley or something like that. And then when the movement came to LA from New York, I was really interested in the subway train movement because although the graffiti was different on some levels, it was still essentially the same energy, the same youth energy going on, you know, I mean, the same communication going on. I could relate to it even though I didn't fully understand it just because of my own inner city experience. So what they were going through kind of related to my life in that way. So I took to that form of hip hop more quickly than I did to like breakdancing or the other forms, music. And I've just stuck with it ever since. It's always been a challenge for me. It's never gotten boring. I've never lost interest in it. And I'm constantly, what do you call it, amazed at all the new styles and ideas that keep coming out of people's imaginations. Whenever I go to your yard, you think that you've seen everything, but there's always some kid that comes around with some new ideas or some new styles and changes up the whole nature of the game every couple of years. And I just think that's really fascinating. And hip-hop's kept me young, and graffiti art has kept me young. And it's allowed me to see life in a more creative sense. And I think in that respect, I'm a lot luckier than a lot of other people who are caught up in 9-to-5 jobs, who don't get to fully exercise their creativity or their imagination.
I mean, the kids who originally were starting to practice hip-hop culture, you know, in the way of life, they didn't have any money. So it wasn't built on money, it was built on a reaction against money and establishment and stuff. So we've introduced the element of money, and it just changes things. In 1990, we started with the idea of it, had our first issue out by December of 1990. It's always called Herb, yeah. It was always focused multi-musical, urban music, like it is. It was pretty local, actually, for the first couple of years. Really local. Just kind of grew with the music, you know, as the scene grew, and more of a need for a national voice grew. Now it's, yeah, it had always kind of been on the back burner internationally with getting to certain countries and stuff, getting into England and into Japan and stuff like that. I mean, LA's not really a spotlight city, you know? A lot of things develop in LA and don't really get recorded in the same way. They're just as unique as other things around the world, but for some reason, I don't know, things seem to be noted more if they're happening in New York or London or something, you know? A lot of things have happened in LA, but if you look at the overall package, it's pretty dynamic, but it is kind of surprising that not more of it would have been talked about, you know? You've got all sorts of different, you know, lowrider culture and all sorts of things, and skate culture, and all these things are fused together to make unique movements and stuff. 86, 85, 86, Riders Corner at Carl's Jr. at Fairfax and Olympics, ridiculous. Just a slew of riders and just, you know, invincible.
Tell me about it.
It was just, everybody was just caught up in the fever. Just caught up in the...
Is that Carl Jr. still there?
Oh, yeah. Bus stop's still there, everything's still there. You can still smell the paint. Yeah, in fact, that's what I think I met Skept, I think, at that corner. I think I met Skept there one afternoon. He didn't go to the school, but he had come up there. A lot of people didn't go to Fairfax. It was just a convergence point, and buses would come by. It was just a very, like, you know, invincible kind of attitude of, like, everybody was just doing graffiti, and it was just like, cool, you know? I don't know. We just felt kind of like we had our own cool things, a lot of camaraderie.
It's like all these companies, executives, a lot of them, they're not in touch with the music or the culture, or they have their certain idea of what they want to hear, which is something that obviously that, you know, it's a business, so they want to make money, and a lot of these individuals, they don't care about the art form of it, so they're just like, they want anything that's hitting. They want you to sound just like what they think is big right now, because they can't see your vision, they can't see where you want to go with it. They don't understand that it's art. It's like your form of expression. So it's like if a Picasso painting is what's popular, they want you to they want you to paint just like Picasso, you know. And to us, it's like that's totally contradictory to why we're doing this.
What up? What you got to say? Arr. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm teaching her how to cut, so That'll be the next video. Stupid pet tricks on the turntables. Yeah.
Here in Los Angeles. KFI does local news on the hour on the house and when it breaks at 9:05 on TV.